Real quick, Doug, before you
Yep.
speak, one more thing is on the back of your card is for notes. So feel free to take lots of notes because you'll be getting lots of good information. Okay?
Okay, Jessica. Well, hello. I have heard here this morning or this afternoon about toxins, releasing toxins from our body, and I've heard relationship, and I've heard about love. And it's interesting because it ties right into what I want to talk about, the power and influence of relationship. And I had a slideshow all set for you, but evidently it's not working, so I guess I got to do this for my own heart. So anyway, I'm really interested in this. I'm a late bloomer, a late developer. The stuff I'm going to talk to you about, I didn't do when I was younger. Some of my family is in this room, and they can attest to that. I didn't do it right. Anyway, messed a lot of things up. But I learned in my latter years about the power and influence of relationship. I didn't, for some reason, wasn't connected when I was younger. I don't know why. And so I just felt empty and alone. And so what I did was I figured out, man, if I'm going to need to be noticed or significant, I've got to be an achiever. I've got to really work hard, and I've got to really be number one in everything so that everybody's impressed with me. And so I did that for about 40 or 50 years and just totally burned myself out. And that didn't work and crashed. And anyway, went back to grad school later in my years and got a degree in counseling, and then began doing this, which is what's been my heart all of my life. Didn't know it. Anyway, started learning about connecting with people and how that feels good, which I never learned before. So, and that's what I am teaching now in parenting classes and in my counseling theories with individuals and with groups. Now, I think maybe you can recognize this problem. Something comes out from nowhere. You wake up in a bad mood. You wake up upset, or you're with somebody or with a situation, and you just react. And something happens that comes out from a hidden place, you don't know where, and you're upset, and you obsess about something, or you gorge on half a box of Oreo cookies, or you just go into this depression, and something just falls all apart. It keeps happening again, and it keeps happening when we're with people that are significant to us, and we want to have a relationship, and we just can't give it, and the one we want to save, we just can't keep. And it's just, why is this all happening? Why do these reactions happen? How come buttons can be pushed inside of us? There are levels to the brain. There are different levels, and on one of my slides would show 4 levels to the brain. Some of those levels are conscious, some of them are unconscious. And Dr. Carl Lehman, who's an MD psychiatrist, explains that there is implicit, hidden memory in our unconscious part of our mind that comes from unprocessed pain when we were younger or in the past. Something happened to us that didn't get processed. It could be something as small as being lost in a department store with your family. It could be something as huge as being abused or being raped. Something terrible. It doesn't matter, big or small. If it doesn't process through our brain, it gets stuck. There are 5 things that need to happen to process pain through our brain. One of them, we have to be with somebody. We can't be alone. We have to be with somebody. We have to be connected to the feeling, and then we got to be able to share it with somebody. We've got to be true to ourselves, so it's real, and then we've got to interpret it correctly. And if those 5 things don't happen, this experience gets stuck inside of us. And then we walk around, it's in our unconscious, we walk around and we're talking to somebody, and they say something, and our buttons are pushed, and all of this stuff comes from the back of our head. It comes up, comes forward in our brain. feels true in the present, and then we get mad at the person we're with and we blame them. And so we've got this stuff that's unprocessed, and we're with people, it gets triggered, comes forward, and then we think it's their fault. And so all these people we're with, these relationships, we keep trashing them, and we keep ruining them, the very things we want, we don't know where it's coming from. So the way we have to go about processing this stuff is we have to become, well, Dr. Brian Post says we have to become aware of what's going on. And I heard some of that in this yoga exercise. We have to be aware, we have to understand what's going on, we have to process it and release it and then replace it with something else. But the thing of it is we can't do that ourselves, because the only thing that accesses inside, internally in our head is a tuning relationship with somebody else. Because you can't get there with logic. I'm sure you can perhaps relate to the fact that one part of you says, boy, I know this doesn't make sense. But the other part of you says, man, but I just feel terrible. Or I feel like I'm a bad person. Or we know I'm not a bad person, but oh, we feel like it. I don't know, can anybody?
Yeah.
Okay? All right. And so you can talk yourself blue in the face, or your lady friend can talk to you cognitively and say, oh, don't think like that, don't think like that, don't think. But it doesn't change the feeling, because it's internal, it's unconscious. And the only thing that touches that is an attunement, a connection from another human being. Because when that happens, our internal body state calms down, and the middle part of our brain, I'll try to be not too technical, the cingulate cortex opens up, our relational brain circuits open up, and we can start processing. And the only thing that triggers that is if somebody's glad to be with us, somebody's listening, we feel like we're listened to, we feel like we're understood, we feel like the other person is feeling what we're feeling, and they're supporting us. And when that happens, we feel safe, we calm down, we open up, and then we can process that stuff. So that's what has to happen to get all that out. And so that's what I want to explain today, and that's what I would encourage you folks to do. I do that in my Attuning Hearts counseling. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. That's the process. Relational therapy, relational healing. That's what I do. I don't fix people. I listen and understand and be with them, and then they process it. So you would come, and I would listen to you, and you would feel safe and open, and oh wow, I can say, I can be ugly, I can be bad, I can be however, and I'm not going to be judged or condemned, and I'm going to be safe to be able to process this stuff, and then you process it out. So then the toxins that we've heard about, emotionally, get to go out. And it's really cool. So anyway, that's what I do. So my invitation is for you folks, if you want an individual session, we can do that. I've got a men's session that's going on. I got some women and some couples. We're going to start a couples thing. We could do a women's thing. Anyway, you can get a hold of me on those information sheets that are in there. We're also doing a parenting class in Northside High School. The 19th and 26th this month. You can look at my website. Is my website on this thing?
Yeah, and the parenting classes, all of that is
Oh,
all there.
okay, the parenting class is on that too, good. So you can go to the parenting class, and I teach parents how to tune into their kids so that to influence them rather than to fight and control them. And so the same thing happens with them. So we're teaching that, and you can get an idea of what that's about. So I invite you to take care of yourself personally, if you want to, with me or with someone else, or get a group going. And I thank you very much.
Thanks, Debbie.